Ryu Hayabusa CERO theory. Let's talk about it.
Here comes a new challenger!
Hello there everyone, and welcome to the Ryu Hayabusa CERO theory, and let's just jump right into it. You probably already heard about this during my post-Pyra Mythra video, or Papagenos' video, so I just want to better explain it. So let's just talk about the theory first. What is the theory necessarily? Okay, essentially the Master Collection is getting, well, released through all platforms. However, there's going to be a second version that will be on the Nintendo Switch's eShop only in Japan, being Ninja Gaiden Master Collection version D, a censored version of the game which only really applies to one scene in Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, and if you know anything about that game, well, you know why. But here's the thing. This version of the game, as I mentioned, is only exclusive to Nintendo Switch, which is pretty strange considering that other platforms, specifically Sony, would usually have the censored product, but not in this case. And it's especially weird when you consider that during the Switch's lifespan, Nintendo has basically let developers do whatever they want. I think the only time Nintendo has had a censored game on the Switch was with Tokyo Mirage Sessions, as the version of the game that was put on Switch was based on the US censored version and not the Japan original. But either way, that could have just been Atlus wanting to have that version be the canon, main version. So the theory goes as follows. Essentially, they would link off to Ninja Gaiden version D on the Smash website, because on the website, when you go through the DLC characters, outside of Joker and Banjo, every other character has links to games that you could buy to either experience their first game or whatever the case may be, right? So they'll link you to it, you can buy the game physically or digitally, whatever. This applies to, like I said, all those characters. So if you were to go to Terry's, it would say Piers and Fatal Fury, you click the link, then you'd see, oh look, you can buy Fatal Fury 1, never play Fatal Fury 1 for your own sanity unless you're really that curious. Now the idea here is that in Japan, it seems that you can't really market rated Z games, especially on platforms that is meant for young teens and young adults, whatever, right? Makes sense. I mean, obviously you wouldn't really want an 18 plus game in Japan because, as you may or may not know, CERO's age rating is a bit different from the SRBs. Basically, it's A through Z, A, B, C, D, and Z. Z is 18 plus games, whereas D is 17 plus, and anything lower, well, Why would Nintendo have this censored version be made for the Switch? Ask Koei Tecmo to have this version on the Switch. Well, to me, in my opinion, this is my theory, not my theory, but a theory me and friends came up with, that essentially Nintendo wants you to play this game, so they're gonna link you to the censored version, so that way, they aren't just marketing an 18 plus game. So let's get onto the questions that you probably might have had. Where did I get this information from? In my video, post-Pyra Mythra discussion, I posted a link down below that links you to the YouTube video that showed this. However, the link no longer works, as the video was, well, deleted. When I watched the video and read the description, it was unlisted, which means that Koei Tecmo must have let this slip and didn't want you watching this. At this point, you're just gonna have to take my word for it that this version D game does exist. However, on Nintendo Japan's YouTube channel, Ninja Gaiden version D is on there. So that version does exist, it is real. So if you, like I said, go to Nintendo Japan's YouTube channel, you'll see that it's right there. The version does exist, it just doesn't say that it's exclusive to Switch, like how the video that I was linking to did say. So on that front, you're gonna have to take my word for it in the meantime until the game releases later this year. Hello everyone, it's PostSab here again, and I would like to say that the Ninja Gaiden box art is out. And if you look in the cover here, it says it's rated Z, so again, this version of the game, which is coming to Switch, it's rated Z, there's a version D, so as you see, there's a censored, and the non-censored version is still coming out on Switch. So there you go. Just wanted to show and confirm that yes, the base game is being rated Z, and that the Switch version is indeed getting a second version, which is a bit more censored for Ninja Gaiden 3. Alright, that's it. The next question is, well, Resident Evil has had a censored version, because obviously you can't really market rated Z games to like just anyone, whereas you can here, because in Resident Evil it would be rated M, not rated A, Whereas over there, it's rated Z, not rated D. You know what I mean? I wanted to basically answer this plain and simple. This is a bit different from Resident Evil. With Resident Evil, every version was censored over in Japan. So as far as I recall, based on my own research, you couldn't play the original version in Japan. You'd have to play the censored version. Whereas with this Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, the original version is still going to be on Switch. Both versions will be on Switch. You can still purchase the Master Collection without any of the censorship on Ninja Gaiden 3. Specifically, like I said, it's only for 3, which is what makes it even more interesting that it's only like one scene that's being censored. It's still being released on PS4, Xbox, Switch, and Steam, though I don't think Japan has Steam, but regardless, it's still being released on a bunch of different platforms. The fact that Nintendo has the censored version is very strange, especially when there are games that Sony will censor but Nintendo won't. Obviously I can't show those games if you know what games I'm talking about, but Nintendo has let developers have creative freedom with their games. I think after the Wii U they kind of realized that if you don't let developers do what they want most of the time, they're gonna stop supporting your console slowly but surely. So Nintendo has been, well, very open to letting developers do as they please. So having a censored version of the Master Collection, especially when the original version is still going to be on the Switch, is very strange. And like I said, both versions will be released in Japan. So when you consider the fact that there's going to be a censored version and the original version on the Switch, whereas the censored version won't be on Xbox or PlayStation, it's kind of strange. Don't you agree? Alright, the next question, and rather the last question, is why Ryu Hayabusa at all? What importance does he have? I'm gonna link a video down below by YouTube channel, which I can't really say the last part of that name, so I'm just gonna show the banner and their video in the description so you can have a better understanding of Ryu Hayabusa as a character. But secondly, Ryu Hayabusa is Koei Tecmo's mascot. I mean, they explicitly said in interviews that Ryu Hayabusa is their most important character. I even showed that in my Pirate Mithra video. So when it comes to Ryu Hayabusa, it just has to be him. And considering that, you know, this version of the game will exist and whatnot, it is kind of strange. And I thought that, hey, maybe this is something worth talking about, especially when you consider the fact that Nintendo, right, it's on Nintendo. Like the censored one is on the Switch and no other platform, right? You really have to think about that part, because that's the only reason why this theory pretty much exists. Without that central part of just Nintendo having the censored version, this theory would not make sense, and therefore there'd be no point to it. If the censored version, version D, was released on Xbox or PlayStation, this theory would have never been made. But the fact that it's only on Nintendo eShop, it really does speak volume. Now sure, some of you may ask, well, why won't this version come to America? Well, that's because Ninja Gaiden Master Collection would likely be rated M, not A. So when it comes to Ninja Gaiden, they would probably release the game and have it linked on the US eShop. So there you go. I mean, kind of makes sense. Even with the censoring of that one scene, the game is still going to be rated M. So it's, you know, it's just unfortunate, but that's just how it's going to be. I have a feeling that's also why the whole Pirate Mithra thing in the bottom says, oh, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 rated teen by the ESRB. I'll probably say the same thing for Ryu Hayabusa, where it's like Ninja Gaiden Master Collection rated M by the ESRB. So there you go. That's the entire theory. I hope that better explains it and answers some of your questions. So just a quick recap: Ninja Gaiden Master Collection version D, Japan only, Switch only, of course, on the eShop, no other platform. Yes, other games have been censored. However, in this case, there is an uncensored and censored version that's going to be on the Switch, and the non-censored version will be on other platforms, so they aren't, well, censoring the game entirely just for the sake of lowering the rating. And last but not least, why Ryu specifically instead of any other Koei Tecmo character? It's because Ryu is their most important character, their mascot, essentially. And of course, there is that one other thing that Vergaben did mention, that Koei Tecmo and Nintendo have had talks in relation to Smash. So, with that all being said, it seems with this theory and with what Verge said, there does seem to be a high likelihood that Ryu Hayabusa could very well be one of our last two characters. Of course, if you want to know more about Ryu Hayabusa, I'll link that video down below so you can better understand who he is as a character. Maybe you might find interest in him. And if there's more that you want to gain from speculation or some talks, discussions, I highly suggest checking out my Fighter Pass 2 predictions post Pyramithra, in which I not only go over the Ryu Hayabusa CERO theory, but I also go over my thoughts, my predictions on who the last two characters could possibly be for this Fighters Pass, whether or not we could get a Fighter Pass 3, and of course 3 characters, 3 franchises that I think also have a big shot of making it into Smash, whether it be as a character or spirits or whatever the case may be. With that all being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please take care of yourself, be safe out there, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. If you have any more questions about this theory, let me know down in the comments below. I'll be happily willing to answer any questions that you may have. So yeah, take care, see you guys next time. Please sub, let's get to 1,000 before the end of the year, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Coming through, partner, we can do this right. You're the fire, I'm the wind tonight. Burning dread, haha, that's right, baby.